Welcome to Movies, Films, and Flicks. I am Mark Hoffmeyer, and joining me is a former super soldier who has won the Thinking About Swimming Pools medal, the Hulkamania in Slow-Mo medal, the Battle of Split Bar medal, the Paladin Skirmish medal, the Crime Spree Beret War medal, and the Brown Jacket, Black Tie, Blue Shirt, Knife Fight medal. It's John Levingood.
I can barely keep track of those medals.
Yeah, you were a former super soldier, now retired. You're still super, but you're just like super retired. So when you're a super soldier and you retire, are you like super retired?
I mean, you pretty much just fill your days by eating huge quantities of food, deadlifting as much as you can, and hanging out in the pool on your Millennium Falcon floaty.
Now, I was watching in this movie Soldier, our 200th episode, by Paul Anderson, which is very good because we did all the Resident Evil movies and we did Event Horizon. I mean, this fits perfectly for it. And Kurt Russell for our 200th episode. But I was watching Soldier and there were guys who were bench pressing 295 pounds, like just had two slices of Swiss cheese in their hands. There was another guy who was doing, a tricep workout with about 30, like 155, well, with the weight, like 165 pounds easily. So how do you not break things, John? And where do you display your medals?
So I got to tell you, for the lifters out there, the dude was doing an incline French press with an easy curl bar with what I thought at a glance was, like 175 pounds.
It was like a 45 and a 35 on each side, right?
Right. And I'm looking at this and I'm thinking like, okay, I weigh 280. I lift a lot and I work out with like 80 pounds. So I'll do sets of 20, but I'll bet those guys were doing sets of 20.
Yeah. I mean, they were lifting those weights like they were nothing. So, John, where do you hang all your medals? And I have to say one thing. If you heard those medals, those are all from movies. And if you can tell me every single movie from each of those medals, I will let you come on the podcast and pick the movie. But you have to pick all of these movies, and you have to do it within 3 days of the pod's release. But if you can name the movies from all those medals, you got it.
I couldn't name one of them. There was something about pensive pools. Is that from Billy Madison?
I don't know. Couldn't tell you. So yeah, where do you hang them? And did you frame them? Custom framing? Did you go to Michael's? Did you go to Hobby Lobby? Where are these medals hung?
Boy, do I have a special room for that? Maybe they're just the entrance to my personal home gym where I French press irregular amounts of weight.
I mean, just the Hulkamania and Slow-Mo medal, the Crime Spree Beret War medal, I mean, the Brown Jacket, Black Tie, Blue Shirt, Knife Fight medal. Tell me more about that.
I don't even know what that is.
Well, you were there. I guess, you know what? Like in this, well, I got to ask you something, John. So in this movie, they're showing off the super soldiers, and it basically looks like these super soldiers, I was going to say super soakers, walk in straight lines and shoot things. Is that what you did when you were a super soldier?
I got to tell you, if I did that, I'd just be the luckiest super soldier ever to have survived a couple decades of those expeditions.
Yeah, and I have a name for all those expeditions. That I found a list of every single expedition that they were on. War of the Six Cities, Saudi Campaign, Battle of the Argentine Moons, Battle at Tannhauser Gate, Montana Insurrection, Bolivian Coup of 2015, Battle of Shanghai 2012, Shoulder of Orion, Nibian Moon Campaign, Antares Maelstrom War, Perdition Flames War. That's crazy.
Now, that sounds like it's in hell. Like they took the Event Horizon out for the Perdition Flames battle.
And now, did you? I did a bunch of background on this. I listened to the commentary with Paul Anderson and the producer Jeremy Bolt, and all the medals that he won. Do you know where they came from?
I have no idea.
All right, so the Battle of Tannhauser, Gates and Shoulder of Orion references Blade Runner. The receipt of the Pliskin patch is from Escape from New York and Escape from L.A.
The Pliskin patch was in this?
Yeah, quick, you see a screen pop up and you have to pause it and take a picture. Then he had O'Neill Ring Award for Stargate, Cash Medal of Honor, Tango and Cash, McReady Cross, The Thing, Captain Ron Trophy, Captain Ron, receipt of the McCaffrey Fire Award, Backdraft, Dexter Riley Award, Strongest Man in the World, Now You See Him, Now You Don't, in the Computer War Tennis Shoes, and then citations for the Nibian Moons Campaign, the Antares Maelstrom War, and the Wars of Perdition Flames, locations referred to in Star Trek II, The Wrath of Khan. So also in this movie, you'll see pieces from Event Horizon. You'll see pieces from Executive Decision in the Big Drunk Planet. The weapons, John. The USMC Smart Gun and M4-1A Pulse Rifle is from Aliens. And the Doom MKIV BFG is for Doom. So everything's just a big nerd thing in here for you.
That's interesting. So wait, but all those awards, when they were showing like all his kills and excursions and stuff in his awards, that was all in that little computer blip.
There's a Captain Ron trophy, John.
No, there wasn't.
There's a Captain Ron trophy.
I want that trophy.
We need that trophy. We got to have that trophy. So hey,
dude, do you think Jason Scott Lee should get that trophy for missing the eye?
I mean, yeah. I mean, that fight was dirty. Like Kurt Russell's Todd, he went for eyes. You want to hear an interesting fact is
I'm in.
Jason Scott Lee put on 30 pounds for this movie, and Kurt Russell, he wanted to make this movie, but he said, I don't want to get jacked up with steroids. So Paul Anderson went off and made Event Horizon while Kurt Russell worked out 3 hours a day in his 40s to get as jacked as he is in this movie. So he worked out for 18 months, and because he knew there wasn't much dialogue in this film, and so he knew that he wanted to feel the part. So he got super jacked without steroids. And while they were filming the first few days, he broke his ankle. So they had to shoot this movie with scenes of him laying down first, then scenes of him sitting down, then scenes of him standing still, and then the running scenes at the very end. So when he's punching that metal container, he has a great fast left hook, fast jab. But when he was going on his right, it looked more uncomfortable because he had to put all his weight on his ankle, and that hurt a lot.
I just thought he hurt his knuckles.
Yeah. No, when he was he was drilling it with his left. I mean, he was right-handed, but he was just like was having a hard time turning and getting that like kind of hip movement to add that extra punch because of his bad ankle in this movie. And he hurt his other ankle in this fight with Jason Scott Lee, and they had to shut down production for 2 days.
I believe that. So it's funny that we're talking about super soldiers, and naturally, one might think of like Captain America. And when you were talking about Jason Scott Lee and Kurt Russell putting all this Jason Scott Lee and Kurt Russell putting on all this muscle, all I can think of is Vita Rays.
Yeah. Come on, guys. Come on. You can do that.
He's like drinking Vita Ray water in between sets.
I mean, Russell though was jacked in this movie, but he looked like grown man jacked, not like puffed up. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh, it's interesting because like when I rewatched this movie, I hadn't seen it in at least 10 years. When I rewatched this, I always remember that this was the best shape that I think I ever saw Kurt Russell in. But when I'm watching this again now as someone who's been lifting for 10 years, I look at him like he is much bigger than I ever remember him being. And now as someone who's gained a lot of size myself, I look at it like, holy crap, like he didn't look anything like this before or after this movie. Like this is like Christian Bale transformation.
He so the day that they wrapped, he immediately went to an In-N-Out burger, and Jason Isaacs, the villain, the mustachioed villain in this movie, saw him 2 months later, and Kurt had lost most of that muscle.
Well, I mean, Russell has a great natural build, right? He actually has like a pretty thick natural build, but boy, yeah, I'm baffled. Like, yeah, he probably lost all that weight like Chris Hemsworth did after Thor when he went to Rush.
Oh yeah, it just dropped it. And yeah, Vikander said that she worked out nonstop for Tomb Raider, and 2 weeks later she was back to normal. I don't know about 2 weeks, but that makes me scared. But yeah, hey, so. We got a listener question I want to get to. We have some listener questions that we have, but this one is from our friend Johnny Num, and he asks, why haven't I watched Soldier yet? And in parentheses, he wrote, just kidding, unless you want to speculate. Well, I want to speculate, John, and I speculated. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, let's hear it.
All right. So the same weekend in 1998, in March, that Soldier was released, Vampires, the John Carpenter film, was released. So 16-year-old John and his friends Rick, Little Debbie, and Trevor traveled 75 miles into the nearest town to see the latest John Carpenter flick, where they met Carl Jr., Valerie, a.k.a. Big Val, and Philly Dave, who was from D.C. So everyone hated the movie, the Vampires movie. And none of them really knew about Carpenter. Johnny did, but they were like, dude, you're an idiot. This John Carpenter guy sucks. So they're all mad at him. We're not letting you pick movies anymore. And they're like, well, we should have either watched American History X Pleasantville or Soldier by the guy who directed Mortal Kombat, because that movie was fire. So they were really mad at him that they didn't watch one of those movies. So the following weekend, they went and watched The Waterboy, because their friends were mad at Johnny for dragging them to vampires. He wanted to see Soldier, but he was happy with Waterboy. And all of his friends just kept saying, that John Carpenter guy sucks, they said. So the following weekend, Soldier was out, and then he had to wait a weekend, then Soldier was out, because it didn't make much money. It only made about 16 million worldwide. So it was out of the theaters by then. And the movie was released the following year in March again. And the week before the DVD release, Ronin and Urban Legends were released. So he checked those out at his local video store. And he watched those. He really enjoyed them. But he didn't get back to a certain point after he returned those. But also that month, Office Space, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, 10 Things I Hate About You, and The Matrix were released in the theaters. So he really wanted to watch some movies, but he didn't have much time. And he wanted to go see this amazing output in 1999 of all these movies. So during this time, someone at his local video store stole the 3 copies of Soldier, and due to a rental snafu, they were never replaced. So as John got older, the gap between him and Soldier widened to the point where he totally forgot about it. Then when he got in his 20s, he kind of became a film snob. He was just like, oh, Kubrick, man, Kubrick, yeah, Ozu, yeah, give me, yeah, Ozu, French New Wave. You know, he's way too pretentious. So he eschewed all the Paul Anderson films completely. And he said he never wanted to see Old Blue Eyes in a bad movie, Kurt Russell. So he also skipped the Poseidon remake, so it's true. But nowadays, as he's more mature, he wants to watch it. But since he's so busy and has a podcast and he writes and he works, he just hasn't had time to fit it in yet because it's not streaming anywhere. So one of these days, he'll get to the movie.
Man, I was just going to say he probably didn't even recognize that it was Kurt Russell because he looked so different. He didn't even know it was a Kurt Russell movie.
Well, he gives us great questions, so I felt I had to bring my A-plus speculation game.
So I thought about it a little bit, and I was really just thinking that at the time, this is a sci-fi movie, right? But if this is on in the background, right, you're watching TV back when we couldn't skip commercials, right, while we're watching TV.
Oh, yeah.
And the trailer for Soldier comes on. Most of the time when commercials come on, you kind of mentally tune out. You don't have a phone to look at, but, you know, your mom's yelling at you. You get up and go do that thing you were supposed to do. Maybe you get up and go to the bathroom because you can't pause something on TV like you can with the DVR, or you get up and get a soda. You're not even fully registering what's going on. So if it's not horror or if it's not very overt, over-the-top sci-fi, you might not even cue in to the genre level of this movie, right? If you're not looking right at it, it just might look like some generalized action movie. So in my head, when this came out in 98, they might even be advertising it in 97 because I don't know when it was released in 98. I'm just guessing that this isn't the thing that attracted most of the genre fans. I have a feeling this attracted more the action movie fans than your horror sci-fi fans.
Yeah, this attracted no fans though.
My best friend from New Jersey actually was commenting today. I told him I was about to be recording this with you, and he said, "Is it wrong that I've never seen Soldier?" And I'm just saying, you've never seen Soldier either? He's our age, yeah, and he's never seen Soldier, and he watches a lot of movies. And I just kind of sit back. I'm like, that's funny to me because I don't think that you go out of your way to not see Soldier. I think that somehow this just perpetually wasn't on your radar.
I mean, I think it's kind of perfect for us because it's Kurt Russell and we talk about him all the time. And it's also Paul Anderson, who we spent a lot of time podcasting about. So I think it was automatically on our radar because of that, but this movie slipped through theaters. It was never a cult classic. And I don't remember it having a long life on HBO or anything. So it's just one of those movies where you almost forget about every 5 years until you maybe hear about it somewhere or you're trolling through IMDb's Kurt Russell's page.
Now, I saw this because my uncle, who really got me into movies, actually, my cousin's father, and we saw this in the theater when I was 17, my cousin was 15, and then my uncle was a member of that Columbia House Video Club,
oh, yeah.
So he got it on VHS, and so we probably watched it, once every several months the year after he got it. So I